Right, so I'm still playing around with Fire Breather Riptide. And what I actually really like about combo decks in Fab, right, because they're pretty unorthodox, you don't have to care about your equipment as much. And in doing so, you can really just throw off your opponent, right? If you saw this setup on a Riptide, what would you be thinking, right? I have Dreadball, I have a Rustling Leaves, right? So you'd probably be thinking, oh, normal arrow stuff, all right? The equipment's a bit jank, maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. And yeah, it'd be interesting because then you see me throw out a cash out and get rid of the bow and the quiver, and then you'd probably be scratching your head. But we'll see what happens. We've got a little bit of draw, so we'll see if we can stack Fire Breather up enough to do decent damage. But again, the main thing is mainly just be defensive. Do I actually want to get rid of the Buzzsaw Trap? I don't have any real way to cycle my arsenal, so yeah, we'll just block with it, mitigate damage. You know, might have a more impactful effect in a proper setting. But what I like now with both the Mask of Malicious Manifestation and Deep Blue is we can cycle away the Fire Breather, right? So we turn a red into basically a yellow because we serve the one resource. So yeah, start off Deep Blue, get rid of the Fire Breather from hand, see what we get, add the Tome to our arsenal because we might as well gain the bonus from it. Nope, I messed up. Why was I expecting a proc from Deep Blue? Start the previous turn. Yeah, okay, let's try again. Deep Blue, the Fire Breather away. Done. Then we can Mage Master, and then play the Tome. No arsenal effects. I don't want to put either of them in the arsenal. Right, we got Burns of the Past, so we actually sort of KO'd on draw. You know what? Maybe not cycling away the Fire Breather is the correct thing. Again, it's also just going to take me time to learn the correct lines of thought, right? So yeah, Mage Master and opting is probably better because again, we're trying to always get some draw, right? So we don't want either of these cards really. Again, Burns of the Past is more impactful later on, but for now we can do that and then we can play the Tome of Ferendale and hopefully get Reel in. We don't want to put anything to the arsenal. All right, we got Lead the Charge and Heart Ferendale, so it's kind of a bust, right? So I don't even think we cycle away Fire Breather yet. I feel like we just stick a Rockside Trap in our arsenal and wait for another turn. I mean, we could cycle with the silver, actually. I want to save the silver mainly for cash in, but I guess it doesn't hurt to get rid of it. Again, finding Three of a Kind or Reel in is the big play for us, which we're unfortunately not getting. So that's a little sad. We'll get rid of the Lead the Charge. There's Seduce Secrets, but we have to put Seduce Secrets into our arsenal for it to actually have an impact. So that's a bit sad. Rockside Trap needs the arsenal. So it's not the best setup. I mean, we can still Fire Breather. I have been able to get it for like 19 sometimes, which feels good. Again, mainly playing defensive, get the slight burn damage with the trap effects, and then try for a big Fire Breather. We'll take a look at the deck, and then I guess I'll try and fish for some proper combo showcases. I am playing with a full deck this time, so it's not as easy to showcase, but then again, it's more practical for an actual match setting. Okay, so what's the completed deck looking like? Well, bodyguards, Riptide, braces, again, fish, maybe get the bonus for the Fire Breather, Deep Blue, Dreadball, and the Quiver, just to really cash out so that we can then cash in for free. I will also have one copy of Starting Stake again for the gold for cash in, right? Just being able to play them for free is such a big thing because it's just positive draw, and again, draw is such a impactful thing in Flesh and Blood. Mage Master Boots for the Tome, Mask of Malicious Manifestation to pull out Fire Breather when it's necessary. Then other than that, it's basically just, yeah, trap-centric again. The only attack we are running is Fire Breather. If we could premeditate it, that'd be fantastic, right? Because it's a red for 3 instead of a red for 1, basically. Plus we have the Ponder tokens, then potentially get traps. It doesn't really matter because we're always going to be restocking our hands. So because we're reactive, we don't really have to worry, right, about losing cards. Even on our actual turn, we're basically just drawing, and all our draw is pretty low cost, even if our turn is just throughout a Starting Stake. Again, we don't have to empty our opponent's hand because our traps will sort of do that for us. Reel in and Three of a Kind, again, the big major draw engines here in Ranger. And then just some nice pitch cards, right, the Heart, the Eye. Yeah, cash out, we've gone over. Seduce Secrets, again, if you stick in the arsenal, we can look at our deck, we can look at their hand, either or, but most likely, right, it's just a cycle because we can draw a card. It's not that hard to get into the arsenal, play anything, and then we can play Seduce Secrets. Burns of the Past, I'm debating. I like that it's blue. Again, I like that it's just a cycle draw, right? But we do have to get 10 traps in the graveyard. And then at that point, is drawing really that beneficial? right? We're just thinning out our deck quicker. If we had another out, right? Maybe even if I took 2 copies of Fire Breather, then that could be the go. I mean, 1 Fire Breather would be 1 in hand, you pitch 1 card, you float 1, so it's now 4 damage. Say you have 2 more blues, you can pump it up to 10 damage. I mean, that's kind of alright. It might be enough to burn through with Riptide. Other than that, you know, you could probably just run the normal stuff like sigils and sink below, but it does mess up the curve in terms of pitching, because we do want high value pitches for our draws, right? Reel in, we definitely want to do at least 3, if not more, to guarantee that we get the traps. But it seems like 4 is kind of where you want to be, right? Because obviously, if you could consistently always get 4 traps, then how much would you end up wanting to pay? I guess 1 card, so you'd be fine with getting rid of 2 more cards, so call it 6 if you had all blues, right? And that way at least you're always going positive in card numbers. So call it 5 actually, right? Float 1 resource, get a little bit of an extra little freebie for like Fire Breather. But yeah, Fire Breather or Exude Confidence is the sort of the grab. We could also do, you know, like Nourishing Emptiness. Oh, how do we nourishing? Oh, why am I taking the hard word? Do Emptiness. The Nourishing Emptiness, while there are no attack action cards in your graveyard, it has Dominate, and if it hits, gain 1 intellect, so it's kind of nice, but it's kind of weak as well. With Premeditate, sure. Again, try and just stack up a big hand. I mean, if you could double Premeditate it, well, no, because Ponder's not actually that good, right? Because it's not actually drawing up. We never go past 4 because the Ponder ticks over. So there's not a super use for Ponder unless we're already above the hand size. So for instance, being able to 3 of a kind, reel in, or something in that nature, and then having Ponder token generation as well would just be fantastic. Although on that same turn, we'd also probably pitch for the Fire Breather. So maybe Premeditate's not as good, right? But we definitely like, for instance, the Codex, play it, get the Blood Rot, and then also gets the extra cards. Although if we are taking it slow and only playing reactively, then your opponent doesn't feel as bad about pitching cards to burn through the tokens. But yeah, I think it's actually a pretty balanced deck, right? At least it feels like it to me. Again, I'm not going to say it has critical success. It's not meta or anything like that, but it does seem fun. It does seem, you know, you'll get a win here or there. But anyway, I suppose... Actually, no, there we go. That's the other thing to talk about. The Blood Rot Trap, Frailty, and Inertia. They're red, so I did cut them. But you could probably throw them in, probably instead of Premeditate, and you'd probably just pick the 2 that are most active for your matchup. So for instance, Blood Rot, if you're against Warrior, because they have a lot more defense, they have more reactions. If you're against Ninja, Frailty. If you're against Guardian, Inertia, right? That type of mentality. Think about which setup works best. Anything else? The Art of War, no. The Crown of Dominion is definitely nice, but I do like the ability just to instantly fetch and attack. I do think I want to run 2 copies of Fire Breather. Now, I do like Golgarian Tome because it allows us to stock up the arsenal too. So like Golgarian Tome, Introduce Secrets is viable. Is there anything else we'd want to stick in the arsenal to make it a bit better? I don't think there's much else that benefits. I mean, we could look through, say, the arsenal cards, but I think then we're approaching, most of them are attacks. And again, Mask of Manifestation being a guaranteed pull for Fire Breather seems really good to me. God, yeah, if it was a Melody, I would definitely not run any attacks, right? And just make a guaranteed final act for 1 extra cost. That would be fantastic, right? Version of this copy for Melody, all she needs. Downside would have to be pretty hefty though, right? Maybe clear your pitch stack, so you have to do it first or something like that. Anyway, I'll have a look. Otherwise, I'll try and set up the combo and we'll see what we can do with Fire Breather. Okay, so maybe 2 more additions. We have Plunder Run, right? So next attack action card you control hits this turn, draw a card. If it's played from the arsenal, next attack action card you play this turn gains +3. Put it in the arsenal, right? Just weave it in between draw. Again, if we're just going into Fire Breather, we don't have to worry about proccing it. And then we also get the draw at the end of the turn to restock traps. Again, it's not a huge deal, but you might go positive with it. Premeditate, same thing, right? And the buffs are generally good. I mean, if you get all 4 off, what's that? 6, 12 extra damage. But I am thinking of something a bit cuckoo. Maybe even getting rid of the Mask of Manifestation for like the Hope Merchant's Hood, right? So stack with more traps. Try and get as many traps in your hand as possible. Again, every time reel in is 2 cards for 4 cards. God, that's just so good, right? So if I take out, you know, the heart, the eye, cash out, strategic planning, stick back in the traps, we have a pretty decent chance of doing so. And then we do something like Sift, right? Where we turn 4 of them and hopefully get Plunder Run, Premeditate, and then we can just find Fire Breather, right? And bank on that as our main combo, right? You play all 4, you go, does Premeditate have to be played from the arsenal? No. So you go Premeditate, allows you to put Plunder Run into the arsenal, Premeditate, Plunder Run, right? Back and forth, get those buffs, find a Fire Breather, play Fire Breather, any excess cards you have in your hand, then pitch away and buff it, right? And it should do a sizable amount of damage. But the odds aren't likely, right? But again, you can turtle, play defensively, just throw out traps. Yeah, might be fun. Anyway, I don't know if I'll thin down the deck, again, to showcase it properly. I mean, I'd love to just do 3 of a kind, 3 of a kind. Well, it wouldn't even be 3 of a kind, 3 of a kind. It would be reel in, into 3 of a kind, into 3 of a kind, I guess. Then I'd also need a way to put Fire Breather into the arsenal. So in that scenario, if you were just going to full straight reel in, 3 of a kind, 3 of a kind, which again would be just fantastic value in terms of card draw. You know what, that might be fun to show off. Yeah. I'd have to search for the opening hand though. But if you were to do that, you'd probably take Honing Hood. That way you could, would it say, return all cards in your arsenal to your hand, then put a card from your hand face down. Since it's not arrow restricted, right, we can use that to put Fire Breather, and then still play Fire Breather off of the 3 of a kind. I might copy this deck and see what type of numbers we can get to for Fire Breathing, because it should be quite large, right? There's a decent amount of blue traps, but obviously I'd like to set it up properly. You know what, we'll do that, and then we'll just maybe try the combo in the full deck as well. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Now, the best opening hand you can have, or I guess the best hand for a turn, would be reel in, Fire Breather, 3 of a kind. That would be the best hand possible. Can Deep Blue? No, Deep Blue has to be from the hand. Yeah, so if I would, well, I could put a reel into the arsenal. You know what? Yeah, we'll fish 1 turn, right? So we'll put a reel into the arsenal. We'll let their attack through, and then we'll do the combo. Okay, so nice and simple. Starting off, we go Deep Blue. We get rid of any of the yellows. Again, we want mainly blues so we can fully pitch. Right, then because we want the better odds for reel in, we will Mask of Malicious Manifestation. We will sink the yellow. Yeah. Done, and that gets Fire Breather out of the deck, puts the other ones in, right? Goes to the bottom. No, and shuffle, okay. But we get Fire Breather, that's the main thing. So then we can play reel in, and we'll definitely want to do it for 3 or 4. God, now I have to think about it. I mean, any extra floating resources just goes into Fire Breather anyway. So I guess you do just want to be efficient, so we'll do 3. So we have to pitch the Buzzsaw, but it's fine. Again, we don't want traps for this turn. We want, yeah, that's the issue, 3 of a kind. It's fine. We get 3 traps, and we know we have to pitch 1 extra off of the other reel in. All right, into the arsenal, we can go the other reel in. We then need to pitch 4, which is perfect because we just pitch a yellow. So we go reel in, we pitch for 4. Doesn't really matter the trap, right? And then we should be able to get perfect 4 traps. But do you shuffle after reel in? Damn, I didn't realize. Okay, we're 1 resource over, but that's fine. Interesting, that just had select 5, didn't it? Huh, to Talishare. I guess reel in isn't that used either, right? It seems fairly niche. But now we put Fire Breather into the arsenal, right? We can then just brace a belief. You never know what we get. It might end up buffing it. We get to see 3 of a kind, so we do get the buff. But yeah, so if we had 3 of a kind, we'd end up with 2 extra cards, right? Which does actually then add up for the damage of Fire Breather. But we have what? 2, 5, 8, 10, 12, 14 bits of damage. Minus 2. We have 12. So we're doing 15 off of Fire Breather. So it's not horrible. It's not as wombo combo-y as, for instance, obviously Melody. But it's still cool. And again, we run 2 facets basically with this deck. You have all the traps energy and just playing defensively. You have the burn damage from Riptide's effect into a Fire Breather. And again, run Plunder Run, run Premeditate, all different ways to buff Fire Breather as well. And yeah, you're just essentially trying to get them low enough where you can burn them. Right, so we are doing, oh, that's 1 too many. How much? Ah, we gotta go through all the instances. That's fine. 16? 17? 17. Yeah, so that's not too bad. 17 damage, plus then again, right, we draw back traps. Doesn't really matter what order. Well, I mean, you could cherry pick at this point. Again, that's the other really good thing in Riptide sense. Being able to, again, pitch a lot and then be able to cherry pick what you want against X opponents. For us, it doesn't really matter because it's a bot. But you could, yeah, again, just cherry pick the traps that will actually do damage. Okay, so then we just play traps. We can still play 3 of a kind just to fill our hand with extra cards and then go into more traps. But that is the Fire Breather side of things. Shall I? Oh God, I'm tempted to continue cycling, right? Trying for the combo. I've just been basically play on Talishare, not getting the hands, restarting, right? Because again, if you have Fire Breather, 3 of a kind, and the 2 reel in, what you can do is you can Deep Blue away the Fire Breather, right? That gets you your 3. You can then reel in. You can then, it puts to the bottom 2, right? Yeah, bottom of the deck, so you know you won't draw into Fire Breather. You can then mask it back, 3 of a kind, put Fire Breather into the arsenal, and then play it. And we'd end up with 2 extra cards, which would be an extra, depending on what colors, right? It could be an extra 6 damage or an extra 4 damage, which puts it over 20, which definitely makes it really good, right? Because then you're just ticking away as you slowly block with Riptide. And again, they shouldn't be getting that much damage through. So I think this deck has an actual fair shot of working. But 2 copies. 2 copies is definitely the gist. Anyway, I will leave it there, right? I'll put the deck link in the description since it's actually a complete deck for once. So just here's some combo elements. But yeah, 3 of a kind and 2 reel ins is pretty much the pinnacle of your draw. Again, if you take one piece of item that allows you to stick something in your arsenal, then you could go reel in, 3 of a kind, and you draw possibly, right? 8 cards, 6 cards, -4 is 10 cards, right? So you'd end up with 14 cards in hand. 14 by 3, if they were all blue, is 28, 40 something, if I've done my math right. But again, the traps don't work because there's not enough blue traps for reel in to work. There's not even 8 blue traps. So screw it. Say 14 by 2. It's still 28 damage, which is quite nice. Yeah. Something to it. Work on it. And more traps Riptide gets, the more possible it becomes. But I think what we're really seeing is they can never really print anything with X cost, right? Because there is always just consistency in some of these draw elements. Again, taking the normal package of Art of War, Crown, Tome of Farendale, Mage Master Boots, Cash In, we can easily stack up our pitch, which makes, again, cards like Into the White Blue Yonder, right, coming out with Mistveil, really good, right, in any of the Mystic heroes. Was it Illusion type? No, it was just Mystic, right? So that in Zen could be really strong. So, yeah, depending on what they print. There's always something interesting to find, but I think I'm going to just start looking through each class, pick out a card, maybe, and see if we can build something interesting. Anyway, there you go. Fire Breather Trap Riptide. Hope you enjoy. See ya.